Welcome back. We're almost through week 3. I'm so proud of you guys. Okay, so today we are going to talk about communication. And communication, everyone says communication is key, and it's true. Communication is key regardless of what relationship you're talking about, right? Like it's personal relationship, but it's definitely in professional relationships too. And so I think it's very valuable to take the time and be very intentional with your communication, not only with your clients, but if you end up having team members or just networking in general, really focus on how you are communicating. So we're going to dive into that a little bit more today. And the big point here is that being professional in your communication is so important. And I want you to take the time to read what you're writing and making sure that everything you say is professional. Oftentimes I see people communicating in very unprofessional ways as if they are texting a friend. So like I keep saying in most of these videos is you are a business owner, so you need to communicate like one. If you are texting someone like they're your best friend from high school, you're not presenting yourself as the business owner that you are, okay? So one thing you can focus on here is clarity. And this is perhaps one of the most important communication skills that every business owner needs to learn is how to be clear when they communicate with others. This is going to lead to preventing misunderstandings, which is going to help create a better client experience. So misunderstandings with your client can cause a lot of conflict, which can lead to a bad review or a termination of contract. Remember, you don't always have to provide all the information at once. I want you to be very clear and concise with the information you do provide. So you basically need to state what you can and will do, when it will be complete, and what results your client can expect. So don't beat around the bush, be very specific and realistic. Our clients don't have time to read long emails. Just, if you need to do a professional email that just has a bullet point of what's happening, what's coming up, that's fine. If that's how your client communicates and that's how they understand things, then do that. But make sure that we're very clear in what we're trying to communicate. And going back, like, it's okay to say that you don't know something yet or you're going to look into it. Like, you don't have to have all the answers immediately. So don't try to make things up and don't say you can do things you can't. Okay. So take your time. Respect. So respect your clients, respect your team, and respect others who are out there running their own businesses. Respect is vital to all your relationships, your reputation, your success. So always be aware of how your communication could be taken. Never write an email when you are frustrated. It really is important to take a pause in intense moments to breathe and think through the situation before you react. Remember the saying, respond, don't react. And in order for others to respect your boundaries, you must respect theirs as well. And it's okay to take a pause. With any relationship, there's gonna be frustration at some point. You're not always gonna absolutely love your clients. And so if you're feeling upset or mad or angry, whatever feeling, that's okay. But take a break from that client and come back. And don't, I'm not saying wait 48 hours and ignore them, but like, you don't have to respond in that exact moment. They can wait, and if you need 2 hours to go breathe, and okay. If it's something where they net, like it's a chat like Voxer or something, you might want to let them know that you're just going to go take a break and that you'll be back in a little bit so that you don't just disappear. But be respectful and take the pause that you need if that's what the situation calls for. And then listen. So listening can be one of the most effective communication skills that anyone can master. Business, personal relationships, all of it, right? So listening to your clients or your team's concerns, needs, thoughts, and opinions can provide a great insight for you to know what the best next steps are. So the more we listen, the more information that we're actually going to be receiving, right? In our society right now, listening skills are highly valued, but they're actually rare. Most people are actually focused on sharing their own opinion, and what their response is going to be rather than listening to the needs of others. When someone's talking to you, how often are you actually listening to every word they say versus thinking about what you think or thinking about what you're going to say next? And so taking the time to actually listen is key. And this is through text too. Like, actually read whatever was written to you, or, before you start thinking of how you're going to respond. Make sure you understand what was said and don't just respond to respond. You know, regardless of what the conversation is about or who it is with, focus on listening, take notes and truly consider what is the other person is attempting to communicate to you. And then, ask questions. So part of listening is also asking questions. By asking good and relevant questions, you're showing your client or your team or whoever you're talking to that you are listening and that you do care. We want our clients to know that we do care about them. We care about them. We care about their business, their success. We do value them as a person. So asking good questions will prevent you from making assumptions that you have to deal with later on down the road. Questions not only show you're listening, but also they provide clarification. The more you understand, the better you can support and the better you can provide to them, So don't be afraid to ask questions. And one thing here is that I see a lot of new VAs. A client will say, "Hey, can you take on this?" Or "Can you go respond to so-and-so?" And they might not know something about the business, or they're like, "Oh, I've never done that before. Actually, like, I don't know what the answer to that client's question is." And instead of like making up the answer or just saying, "Yep, I'll handle that," and not handling it, say, "Yeah, I can definitely handle that, but can you help me understand XYZ? Or do we have a policy on that?" Ask questions. People understand you don't know their business 100% if you've been in it for only 2 months. Like, you have to be in a business for a while to really understand the ins and outs of it. And a client is going to understand that they can trust you more if you're willing to ask the questions. And then empathy. So empathy shows concern and acknowledgement of other people's needs or concerns. You do need to be very aware of professional boundaries when it comes to empathy. We are business owners, like I keep going back to, so we need to be professional. So you have to probably, or you might need to practice this one a bit. It can definitely be a challenge. But remember that client relationships are professional relationships. They're not your friends. And the boundary here, it gets, it's hard. And I will admit, this can be a hard one, especially when we're working with people we really like, but you have to be careful. You know, it depends on the mode of communication here, but if a client is upset about a personal situation, it's important to show empathy and express condolences or apologies for whatever it is that they're dealing with. But I want you to make sure that you don't enter their problem and try to fix it for them, because you are a virtual assistant, or whatever your role is. You are not their therapist. And so, but oftentimes you're one of the people that they communicate with most. And so it can get really blurry, and it might seem like it's harmless to be their friend, but in the end, as a business owner and as we grow your business, I want you to have strong boundaries here and be very careful, because this relationship is also different than like a coworker relationship you might have had, in the past when you work for corporate. You're like, "Well, I was friends with my coworkers," but clients aren't coworkers. And we need to care, but not involve ourselves, and so it can be sticky, and it's on a case-by-case basis of how you're going to be able to navigate that. But do try to show empathy without becoming too personally involved. Sometimes you just need to listen, but just be very careful, and you don't want to ignore your clients' concerns, because we don't want to be rude. We want to show that we do value them. But we also don't want to stir the pot. We don't want to become involved in the drama, or if there's it can be complicated. So be very careful here. If you run into a situation where you don't know how to handle it, or it's becoming too much, feel free to reach out to me and I can help you navigate that as well. And then the last thing we need to focus on in our communication here is positivity. So we always want to maintain a positive demeanor and refrain from being negative or automatically dismissing of, anyone's ideas within their business, within our business, or whatever it is. So like I said, if you can't be positive and you are frustrated, you feel negative, it's natural, we're human. Take that pause until you can come back and bring yourself to a place where you're strong enough to have a positive response to your client, because positivity is contagious and it always makes the situation better. So whatever we need to do to help ourselves be more positive, it's worth doing. Always be open to new ideas, always realize that we have room to grow when it comes to communication. But it's worth it. Having solid communication and intentional, mindful communication is a game changer in business. So tonight, you guys don't have any homework. I want you to keep working on that client onboarding process, whether that is, you're still developing your contract or working on just the onboarding in general. So go ahead and keep wrapping that up, and I will talk to you tomorrow.